Hi, my name is Tom and welcome to today's tutorial about Web3Modal, Wagmi and using its most popular hooks. So in today's tutorial, we'll be covering what is Web3Modal and Wagmi and deep diving into it. And then we'll be getting into some JavaScript, TypeScript code to show us what is actually possible with Wagmi. So this is the preview of what we'll be running, of showing the Web3Modal hooks as well as the Wagmi hooks and how you can interact with the blockchain. So let's get started. So this is an article written by a colleague of mine which dives into Wagmi and how to interact with Web3Modal. So for context, Web3Modal is our flagship product that allows you to connect dApps and wallets, and Wagmi is a library we interact with that allow you to interact with the blockchain that are EVM compliant and allow you to read and write to the blockchain and also listen for events. So we should take a step back and realize, how do we interact with EVM blockchains? And it primarily starts with this thing called JSON RPC requests. So here is a code snippet that allows you to pass a payload to a provider like Alchemy or Infura, which allows you to get a response. So that's the overall high level context. And then VM is a lower level Ethereum library that abstracts over all of these complicated things and pieces things together. Then we have TAN-stack query, which is basically data fetching and state management for web apps. So this helps compose of what Wagmi is. I'll dive a bit into this. But this is probably the most high level and overview context for the current Wagmi v1. Of this JSON RPC request, it interacts with VM, it has connectors for Wallet Connect or Coinbase or anything else, and then we have TAN-stack query and then Zustand, and all of that composes to make Wagmi, which is awesome. So now we can start getting ready for our coding tutorial, so let's get started there. So first of all, we're going to just install Web3Modal. This is just a quick start guide that we have in our documentation, which uses a CLI tool. So if you want to do further extended stuff, that's fine, but I prefer to just quick start all of this. So here I'm going to just do that and so the way this works is it also pops up cloud.walletconnect.com because you need a project ID. So let's call this the Wagmi hooks tutorial. Create an app. You can leave link empty and create. So this is the project ID. I'm fine to expose it just for this sake of the tutorial. And this should resolve the package and install everything. This is using Next.js, by the way. So in the meantime, this is the end result that will occur, and what we care about is the hooks here of how do we use Web3Modal, etc. So while we're waiting here, the ones we will be using is testing open and close, as well as disconnecting. And yeah, so let's just wait for this to propagate. It gets loading. Then I'll probably be using VS Code. Also a prerequisite is that you have some sort of web browser extension. I'm using Xerion, but the other popular one is how do we say MetaMask. So CD9, then Neon Dev. So this should work on localhost. Okay, so this is what it spins up. That was less than a minute or two. So here I would connect to my wallet. Web3Modal already recognizes if you have a certain injected wallet. So I'm going to use Xerion and I'm connected. So I can see my account, what chain I'm on, etc. So now this is all just the template, and I'm going to go here and just open up VS Code. Just drag it over. So this is just the index of everything, and this is the app. So the app instantiates Wagmi, create Web3 modal, various chains with Wagmi. It's imported already the project ID, and this is just the setup. So we'll be focusing mainly on the front end code of things, as in the rendering, in this section. Okay, so here is the index.tsx, and there's quite a lot of code here that exists, but we can start to strip things out. So you go from line 72 where the main starts, we can just get rid of the div in between. Let's just get rid of that, and it should be reflected here. To show this, I will be putting in just here in the main, just h1 to build Web3 modal hooks. Then there's that, and then let's duplicate that for Wagmi hooks. And okay, so they're in two divs. That should divide what we want to do. We could make it closer, but what I want to show you is in the header, we could probably remove the header actually, except take one thing, which is this button. So that, and I'll remove the header just for the sake of it. Okay, so this is the actual connect wallet button. So if you go here, we go to Web3 modal, React, hooks, getting started. To trigger the modal, all you have to do is import this web component. So there's no importing that needs to occur, and it works quite well. However, you may want to customize this, and that's why we have React hooks for this as well. So if we import this, import Web3 modal, let's go to the very top, and then we import this open and close method. We can just put it here. Let's just create a simple button. That is open, close. And let's see. Very simple. So, but this also opens and closes the modal. So for now, I'm just going to disconnect this, open, and even if I comment this out, it still instantiates the modal here, so that's awesome. And then that is basically the most simple connect, open, and then I'll show you a Wagmi hook called useDisconnect. So this is our very first Wagmi hook that we'll be using. UseDisconnect from Wagmi. So this one can be disconnect, and then we do disconnect. Let's see how that works. So I go here, I open and close, I connect to my Injected browser wallet. If I can still use it, and just for the sake of transparency, why don't we put, if this is connected, so this is going to start a new Wagmi hook called useAccount, and const address of useAccount. So if there is an address, we can say address exists, then display the address. If not, display open / close. So let me fix that up. let's go here. So this is connected, and then if I press disconnect, all of that should change the state. So that's the most simple Web3 modal hooks. So we covered that very quickly. Let me add some styles and clean this up so that we know what we can do. So I'll probably just want to do all this in Flex and then also just make the buttons a bit prettier. So let me go into buttons, there's styles. Great, so now I'm just going to write all the hooks that we'll be using in this tutorial. So I'll go over what we need in the documentation. But we want to use useAccount, which we've already used, useBalance, useSignMessage, useContractRead, and useContractReads for multiple, and useContractWrite, which is also quite important. So that's that. There's some, maybe I added padding. Looks a bit diff. I'll resolve the padding a bit later. Okay, so I have fixed up the CSS here. I just had to do flex columns and do that. That's accessible in my style sheet for those that want to duplicate that. And yeah, so now we can move on to Wagmi hooks. So we did all of this, and now we want to work on the most popular Wagmi hooks. So just to double check, so Wagmi has two pieces of documentation. There's V2, which came out very recently, and this tutorial focuses mainly on V1. So you would click here. And where we want to go into is the hooks. So we've actually used useAccount, and I'll do another demonstration of it. And then we're going to go through all of these other ones. So with useAccount, we've already got it here, and I'm just going to simply just put in a simple div here, if address, address, if not, null. So let's see how that goes. So this is my address, and I'm on girly if. useBalance. So using the balance, we have to import this. And set some data up. So just going to put inline comments here so it's easier to read. And I will just call this balance data. I'll do states a different time. Let's see if this one works. Maybe we just do it with our self address, to be honest. And let's put it here for balance. Okay. So here we get the balance, and if it is, then we need some sort of formatting. So let's just do that. Balance here. So we called it balance data, and let's see how this works. Okay, we have 0.018 ETH. Perfect. So that's for getting balance, and this is stuff that we're actually already using inside the hook. So it's all in one kind of component. Using SignMessage. So using SignMessage is when you sign a message like GM Wagmi friends. So use SignMessage here. Let's do this and call this use SignMessage. So let's call this use SignMessage data. Let's just keep the success. SignMessage success. Okay, and let's this is the method we use, so let's replace it with that one, similar to this, and then if it's a success we write or display the signature. So here SignMessage success and SignMessage data. So let's see, sign a message. Okay, it pops it up, and then we sign and we get the signature. So great. So use SignMessage works. Now the last two important parts is useContractRead and useContractWrite. useContractReads with an S is just multiple calls to a contract. So for this sake, I will be basically you need a smart contract, and documentation suggests for useContractRead is to use this sample Wagmi gotchi contract. I believe this one is on mainnet, so we're going to have to switch there. So yeah, okay. So useContractRead. So what we need to do is I set up a folders under source called ABI, and we need to go here. So let me go back. useContractRead, and we go into this contract, and if you can go into Etherscan and select the actual ABI if it's verified, and you can paste it here. So let's call this Wagmi gotchi ABI.json. Paste, save my VS Code auto formats, and the way we would interact is similar setup here. So let's first of all import it, useContractRead, and set this up here. ContractRead data, and I think that's that. Get rid of this for now. So this is the address. We do need to import this, so we can just import Wagmi gotchi from API / Wagmi gotchi. Wagmi gotchi, and we don't need this. So this is that, and it calls a function called getHunger. So let's see how this works. See if it's as simple as that. No. So use ContractRead. Maybe let's use just a success to double check. Maybe we need to let's see what the message here is. Expression. So contract read. Why don't I just wrap it in a div? Contract read, and then I want to display see how this works. Okay, so it gets the integer that we wanted to read from the contract. Awesome. So now we will do multiple readings of a contract. So we will do contract reads. Let's import this and see what we have to do. And just for, we're going to use ContractWrite anyway, so I'll put that there. So we have to write it as a const of the contract. So here we don't have mloot ABI yet, so let's click here, contract, copy mloot ABI.json, save. Okay, so we have those referenced, and then we need to call it as we usually would. Let's call this multi-contract read, and let's work on a success. Okay, there is some TypeScript stuff that I have to resolve a bit later, but let's just work on one read function from each contract. Okay, so let's do a similar one to how we did this. So we use multi-contract read success. Actually, let's just double check what the return is. Multi-contract read. Okay. We get an array with two results. So the result is stored in result. So we have to map this for the result. Okay. So here, if this was a success, then we should map it of multi-contract read. Should be data. Dot map of data, which we want to actually get the result as a string, index, add a key, we're doing that, we should do a null. Oops. So let's see. Cool. False and hard leather. Amazing. And the last one is I deployed a contract on Open Zeppelin Contract Wizard. I did a simple 721 mint. I believe I had it here. So mint, and this is the contract that I deployed over here. And I have the ABI and everything. And the reason I'm doing this is I found some difficulty with the documentation write contract one. So I'm going to call a new ABI here. I go to copy ABI, save, import. Okay, and let's check the example here. So there is a strong recommendation to use this one called use prepare contract, right? So this prepares the contract to see if, basically to simulate how it all works. So we also have to use prepare contract write, and let's go here. So we prepare the contract, and so since I've deployed this on Girly, I'm going to have to silence some of these because these are mainnet. Okay. So I don't think we have any issues right now. Okay. So let's switch to Girly. And then we go back here. The config is right. However, the address that it's deployed at is here. We are using ERC721 ABI, and we are using SafeMint. And we are passing in arguments here of I mint to myself and the token ID I issue it. So I've done a few mints, so I'm just going to do it as 3. And then there is the last part of just writing this as data. So let's mint data and success mint, or mint success. And similarly how we did for SignMessage, we're going to use the function here. So here we're going to write, and then if it's a success, we should have transaction. So mint data and mint success. So let's see. So refresh. Right, great. And the advanced view shows that we're interacting with SafeMint. And let's confirm. And cool, we have the transaction hash. So amazing. So we've covered all the main Web3 modal hooks, the Wagmi hooks that are most commonly used, and now you're very much equipped to get started with Web3 development. So the code will be available in the description below, and feel free to ask us any questions. Thanks.